So when I was an undergraduate, I took a Chinese politics class. And my professor screened a documentary where, frame by frame, I learned about China's Great Leap Forward, as you can see here in this propaganda poster. The Great Leap Forward was a Maoist campaign lasting from 1958 to 1961. The campaign sought to quickly transform China into an industrialized, collectivist nation. It is also known as the Great Chinese Famine, where tens of millions of people starved, up to an estimated 45 million. In this next image, you'll see children standing on fields of wheat. At this very moment in this classroom, watching propaganda of Chinese children standing on wheat so strong it could hold them, something took a hold of me. In this small classroom next to the Hudson River in upstate New York, far from 1961, far from China, I began to cry. I cried in front of my classmates, in front of my professor, and I was so embarrassed I actually left the room and I didn't come back to class for an entire week. So my question is, why? What happened here exactly? At this very moment of reckoning, I wondered, who starved in my family? Who died? Who was lost? And also, why didn't I know about this? I began asking questions down to the tiniest of details. In light of famine, is this why my family, when I was growing up, obsessively fed me pork buns, so much so that my nickname became Bao Bao? I've always wondered about my family's history, but regardless of my questions, no one in my family wanted to talk about the past. When asked, my grandfather, a village leader, would just scoff at me. And when I moved to Hong Kong for a Fulbright fellowship, my family responded immediately with, "Why would you go back to China? Are you crazy?" Yet, regardless, the past, these ghosts, they arise. So my creative and scholarly work on Asian American poetry focuses on what I call a poetics of haunting. And this is where our history dwells in a strange, liminal space of the past, present, and future combined. As a poet, I've always wondered why I keep coming back again and again to experiences of migration and collective trauma, even though I, as someone born in the US, have never experienced it firsthand. Why can't I, for instance, write about the beautiful mountains in Seattle, where I currently live? Why can't I write about the Puget Sound? Well, to start, I can't, because I can't be a witness necessarily to those events that happened in the past, but if I'm not a witness to my family's history, what am I then? A conjurer? A voice from the future? For me, a poetics of haunting is not a matter of the repressed coming back to haunt you, but is a productive and intentional act to go toward the ghost and rewrite forgotten histories. It is a powerful way to reclaim our stories through language, both written and oral. And I'm not alone in this poetics of haunting. I keep coming back to a Korean American poet, Teresa Hak-young Cha, in her book, Dictee. Her book is full of images, documents, and fragments addressing the Korean War, the Japanese occupation, and the ghosts of various languages. Cha is especially close to my heart, as she herself is a literal ghost. She was tragically murdered when she was just 31, right before her first book was published, right after. Her book opens with this image of rubble here, in an inhabitable place, and it begins with a quote: "Beginning wherever you wish, tell even us." For me, poetry is a means of telling. It's a means of bringing forth a lost narrative at that very point of discovery, whenever it happens. Just recently, my friend, Wo Chan, who is also a poet, wrote on Facebook that he learned about the Great Leap Forward, and he also had an intense reaction, including the need to write and engage with this new, forgotten history. A poetics of haunting, as a result, also creates a strong community. When I was growing up, my family would celebrate Grave Sweeping Day, when we would visit our dead relatives and clean their graves and eat, featuring oftentimes a giant suckling pig. We would burn funeral money for these ghosts, and nowadays you can actually purchase funeral cell phones, funeral bling, to burn and share in the afterlife. Today, I'd like to share a poem with you all dedicated to ghosts, to my family during the Great Leap Forward, to my family now, to history that must be reclaimed, despite not being in the textbooks, despite silence and erasure, despite the very distance of time. I'd like to ask all of you today to listen closely to the silences surrounding your own world and rewrite your own histories. When you died. Did you wonder what was coming home? No loyal dog, no mother, no father in clean pressed linen, no river to wash away the dirt from your eyes. Know this, your eyes are large enough to build a ditch in. If the sky is red, stay inside. Do not look anyone in the eye or you will turn into a pot. No one wants to be a pot to cook nothing with. Did you see roses blocking the street? No, the air wasn't full of thorns, the rot not red and slug sick. Take care of the cabbage, even in the rain. Take heed of your little brother. Wean him on a stick of sugar cane. No sugar cane, not even your neighbor's cupboard. Remember, what belongs to someone else does not belong to you. Give your brother your thumb instead. Keep your nails long. Did you have a name and did the army take it away? Did you try to hold on to your name? An armful of emptiness is better than nothing. You do not believe me? Tell me then, what is the use of making sense during a time like this, during a red sky like that, dangling about like a tender slice of meat you want to devour? Thank you.